Hello, I'm Debbie Bell-Hosking for FinextraTV here at NextGen Nordics 2025 in Stockholm, and already I'm having a great conversation with Mick Fennell. Sometimes I wish we recorded the conversation before we actually start recording. There's so much going on here at NextGen Nordics. First of all, a big hearty hello.
Hello Debbie, great to see you again.
Wonderful to see you. And since you've sat down in the chair and you're getting your microphone on, we have not stopped talking about the conversation that's happening here at NextGen Nordics. And even now, while somebody watches this video, they can hear the rumble behind us of all the people talking below. It's just, there's so much to talk about. Drivers in payments processing that are driving change. And based on all the discussions we're hearing, how do you find the priority?
You know, and that was the great thing about talk. It's not just one thing that's happening. There are lots of different drivers that are taking place, be it international or domestic. Like we can talk about cross-border payments, the G20 objectives and the targets there that are driving change. But when I look at change, I try and categorize it. And I talk about you can really categorize into 4 ions. And that first ion is innovation, I-O-N, innovation. So that's about growth acceleration. How do you grow your business using innovation? The second one is regulation. Again, a huge driver. A lot of times need to be prioritized because it's mandated. It's hard to move away from that. But one thing people should look on a regulation is that it's a chance to drive innovation. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. The third one is optimization. How do I improve my processing? How do I reduce my costs? I think we're all looking at what's happening in the global markets right now, and we realize, we are going to have to look at how we can manage those things. How do we become better? How do we service the customer better? So that's all around optimization. And then the final big factor is protection. Protect you, protect the bank, the financial institution, the fintech, and the customer, especially the customer, from risks, from counterparty risk, from credit risk, that's your own organization, but also from cyber threats, from bad actors, data governance, data integrity, all of those things. So they're the 4 categories: innovation, regulation, optimization, and then finally protection. And within, depending on what kind of organization you are, one of those or some of those will be a higher priority. I've said this a lot in interviews, people, very Irish saying, people saying, well, how do I get there? And of course you'd say, well, I wouldn't start from here. So that's a very Irish way of kind of giving an answer.
Or many roads to get there.
There's loads of roads to go down, but a lot of times everyone's in a different position. Every bank, every financial institution, every fintech, they're all got different systems and different priorities, different businesses that they're kind of drive. And so not one thing is driving everything. Not one thing is the priority for everything, although I would say the regulation and the protection are the ones that are more forceful because they're almost mandated. But if you really want to grow your business, you need to look at innovation.
Now let me pluck that back. Looking at innovation, I'm going to throw it back at you. What innovation would you identify as enabling change in payments?
Well, it's almost the other way around, enabling change, because innovation is there really to help you accelerate growth in your business. And there are various areas of innovation that organizations are looking at. Right, I'm going to do this better and it's going to help me win more customers. It's going to help me expand out what I offer. And again, obviously I love to categorize things, obviously. The first area we're looking at payments is alternative networks. So a lot of changes happening there where there are new players entering the market. Sometimes one likes to call them super correspondents, but they're networks and they enable people to execute payments more efficiently, especially in the cross-border space, but they're not necessarily all cross-border. There's some domestic people appearing in this, and a lot of the big brands within the global payment space have now really invested and entered this market. And so now it's incumbent on banks to be able to handle that, to be able to do efficient things like least cost routing across multiple networks to expand out their distribution. So that's one area. The second area is crypto, stablecoins, CBDC. What are you doing with that? How are you getting involved? We see the digital euro project, but there are other projects happening out there. And obviously there's a lot of crypto and stablecoins already about. So how are you enabling the integration of those technologies and those requirements into your platform? How are you enabling your customers to be able to avail of those products, the ways of moving money around the world? So that's another area. Another area is AI, right? How do we use AI and leverage it to actually help us grow? And so there are lots of different areas. Within Temenos, we have like over 30 to 40 already models that we've built out that are in lots of different areas within the platform. But in payments, we see multiple use cases for AI in the fraud space, in reducing false positives, in terms of optimization, in how we can route payments better, how we can automatically make decisions quicker on where it goes, but also in operationally payment agents to enable the users to be more flexible, to empower them. And so that's very much along the kind of AI chat, kind of GPT type stuff. So all of that AI is how we're trying to improve things. Other areas are things like embedded finance, embedded payments, open payments. How do you enable that? How do you enable your APIs to be really flexible so you can engage with lots of different and onboard new fintechs, new customers? You know, we see a huge change in the last 5 to 10 years in terms of distribution and how the customer engages with financial products. And a lot of times the banks are acting as a manufacturer to deliver products to the various new distributors. The fintechs are getting there and owning the customer relationship. And so it's incumbent on the banks to be able to service both the fintechs and their customers directly. How do you do that better? A lot of it is around API engagement, open banking, and the other one is customer centricity. The idea of segmentation and personalization, and that's not just about consumer, but more and more about corporate and personalizing it for the corporate and for particular industry sections. So creating payment products for the hospitality industry, creating payment products for the manufacturing industry. So those are the kind of things that banks are looking to be able to do, and looking to be able to be quicker time to market to do them, more efficient, and that's where the growth comes from. Yeah.
So Mick, there's just so much to consider.
Yeah.
There's so much to onboard. There's so much to look at when it comes to modernization and growth. Ultimately, you want to see where does it add value for my organization.
Yeah.
So what is your role as Temenos?
Yeah.
And particularly under the umbrella of everything we're hearing today,
Yeah.
how does an organization like Temenos add value?
Well, put simply, it's about helping to address all of those changes. Because sometimes people are talking about the front end where you're onboarding customers, where you have to engage with customers. You're talking about what's happening in the middle office, the back office of processing, orchestration, validations, all of that heavy lifting that goes on within the financial institution. But then finally, there's also all the external distribution and the feedback you get managing all of that, to clearing services, to alternative networks, to all the different services you have to bring together. And so again, I come down, it's not one thing. I would say it takes a village to raise a payment. You need all of these things working together. And I feel that where Temenos are, very strongly placed, never want to say uniquely about anything, but very strong, is about delivering that single integrated platform that enables people, or what our job is to do, is to enable them to hit all of those, to be able to accelerate growth in their business, to be able to address regulatory change on time with value, to optimize their processes and be more efficient and deliver better products to their customers, and then finally to protect themselves and the customer. So we invest in all of that. We look to create value by bringing those things together. And of course the other issue is, how do you consume that? it's also enabling organizations to consume that easier. And that then, other innovation is cloud and SaaS, software as a service, how people can take some of these things and start to go on a journey with, Temenos. We are the number one selling core banking platform on the planet. And the core of banking is accounts and payments. For the last 17 years, you don't remain number one without constantly reinventing and investing in the platform and keeping up with technology and innovating and addressing compliance. So that's where we bring value, being the partner of choice, the number one partner of choice within the industry for helping people go on that journey and address all those different spinning plates.
And again, that beauty of collaboration, if we're going to use that word, is having somebody else who has their finger on everything,
Yes.
knows everything, and there's a little bit of reassurance actually when you're making those big decisions.
Yeah, and that's it. It's about partnership. We talk about collaboration, and we're in this with our customers. We've got customers who've been with us over 30 years. And you don't do that by you're a partner. And we're growing together, and we face challenges together, and that's what it's about. Yeah?
And it doesn't stop here. There's a lot of challenges ahead.
Well,
that we can keep talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And looking towards.
Yeah, absolutely, and I look forward to it.
Absolutely. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your discussions here at NextGen Nordics. I know there will be plenty.
Yeah, no, it's a great event, really great engagement. A lot of open conversations, a lot of people enthusiastic and trying to find out, right, how do I address this challenge? How do I meet this aspect of growth? So thank you very much for the time, Debbie.
Great, and just to sum up the environment of NextGen Nordics, it's good to talk.
It is.
Thank you, Mick.